time we are cutting across to these pictures of mass protests by the Pakistan police force. This is in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, where they've threatened to resign if a proper investigation into the worst terror attack on Pakistan police at Peshawar is not carried out, wherein at least 100 people were killed, and they are blaming both the Pakistani government and the army. Massive protests that are underway in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where you see the police force threatening of a mass resignation. Those pictures on your screens, and we'll also try and get one of my colleagues to give us details of these protests. But massive protests that were staged by these police officers on the streets in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. They threatened of a mass resignation. They said that unless and until a proper investigation is carried out into the worst terror attack on the Pakistan police in Peshawar, where more than 100 had lost their lives, they are outright blaming the Pakistan government and the army. These are unprecedented protests in Pakistan. And the Pakistan police threatening of a mass resignation. Shravan Sen will join us shortly to give us details of these protests that are being staged in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I believe he's already with us on the broadcast. Shravan, tell us more, because this certainly is a huge spell of trouble for the Islamabad authorities and the Pakistani government, to be precise, where they are blaming the army and the government both, and they are saying that a detailed investigation needs to carry out, or else they will resign as a full force.
Well, in fact, all this while, Suesha, when protests were taking place in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, what essentially would happen is that the Pakistani administration would give it a spin by saying that these are Indian agents. But what's happening right now, this is on the streets of Pakistan itself, and the fact of the matter is that this is none other than by Islamabad police themselves carrying out the protest. If you actually listen to what the protesters had to say, what the officers had to say on the street, is that they're basically warning the government to take action against those terrorists who had carried out the attacks. In fact, a police station was also attacked by the TTP. Now, what's important to point out here is that they are saying that we do know who are the terrorists who have carried out these attacks, and the Pakistani government perhaps needs to step in. So this is once again an open dare. We saw that happening in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, but that was never taken very seriously, or rather it was suppressed by the Pakistani army. What is it that Pakistan now has to say when their own police is now out on the streets daring the government to take action against the terrorists? On the other hand, there is also pressure that is building from Afghanistan. There was an attempt that was made by the Pakistani administration to pass the buck on Afghanistan, saying that Taliban is behind it. Taliban, on the other hand, has said that these are, mischievous attempts, malicious attempts that have been made by the Pakistani government. At the end of the day, today, what's actually happening in Pakistan is that they themselves have been breeding the terrorists who have now only going to bite themselves. That's exactly what is happening. On your screens right now, there is the Peshawar attack that had taken place, where about 100 people died. You had one of the terrorists planting the bomb on a motorcycle, parking it there, and the explosion took place, resulting in massive casualties. Then you had, just about a few hours later, there was another attack that was carried out at a police station, but that was repulsed. There was no casualties. But having said that, even the police had come under attack. What you're seeing right now on your screens, these are exclusive images that have been accessed by Republic TV. In fact, our contributor Khyber is also joining us from Islamabad. Khyber, this is undoubtedly unprecedented, to say the least. What really happened? When did the protests take place? Where were the protests, and what is it that the authorities are saying now?
Well, you have rightly pointed out, it was unprecedented, not only in Pakistan, but across the world. We have never seen any police and law enforcement agency which are supposed to guard the life and, the property of the people. They have come across the road, they have come on the road and it is really unprecedented. But let me tell you, it all happened in Peshawar, a day after the bomb blast, because after the bomb blast that occurred, the suicide bomb that occurred in the mosque that was actually situated in the heart of in the red zone of Peshawar. So it was natural for the police to come under the criticism. And what we heard, and what we have seen a day before, 2 days after the suicide blast, that the Pakistani police came on the road and they were protesting that ye jo na maloom hai, wo hame maloom hai, means that they knew what was the organization, who were the people behind this attack. It was really unprecedented, and I believe it was a trick to come out of the criticism, because the government, the opposition, and all the masses, the millions of people were criticizing that how did it happen in a safeguard, well guarded, well guarded zone. And definitely the one motive of this protest could be to come out of the criticism, but really, as you have rightly pointed out, it was really unprecedented. And also the jokes are coming on Pakistan's way, because it happened only in Pakistan. And the police, which initially under the impression that after protesting we may get sympathies of the people of Pakistan, but it didn't happen. Rather, the more criticism was poured on the Pakistani police.
Right.
So now, yeah.
Right. Kasper, we'll await more responses to that. For the moment, both Kasper and Shawan, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. We move on to Superfast 50 this afternoon.